This one's for the men who just say they've given up on Western women and are gonna go abroad for a woman. I understand some of your frustrations, but if you're gonna be a passport bro, there are certain downsides. First of all, you have no idea if this woman is using you for a visa or your money. You're not gonna be able to have fun banter with her. She might be more feminine, but she might not feel like your best friend. She might feel more like a maid service. Number two, you're definitely going to run into some cultural differences. Is she going to be willing to give up her family, her friends, her career just to come to the States for you? You guys are also going to run into the issue of where to live. Or are you willing to move there? Passport broing is a cop-out for something that can be easily solved.
Sounds like a conflict of interest. Advice ignored. We will take our chances. Why are you concerned?
So I think that this is a great opportunity to talk about passport bros and men going overseas to find partners and what this is really speaking to. So one, I have no qualms or problems with men going overseas to find a wife. You are a free person. You're a sovereign individual. You get to do whatever you want. I don't have any personal qualms with it. I think women overseas are great. I think marriages between people of different cultures is really great. I have no issue at all. However, what I want to speak about is that very often when men go abroad, when they go abroad to date a woman, what they're doing is they're often avoiding their patterns and relationships and thinking if they just go somewhere else, they will have a different experience. And it's sort of like when you're having problems where you live and you decide to move and then you experience the same problems, or you have the same patterns that come up in relationship even though you're dating different people. It's essentially that you think if you just change your physical environment that the patterns will change. But in reality, the patterns are something that you are experiencing inside of your body, and those patterns are just being pushed out, right? You are just the universe pushed out. So whatever you're experiencing, you're going to see externally. So you'll see in these shows specifically, the shows are great because you can see the sort of ins and outs, is these men go abroad thinking they're going to get this fantasy. And in reality, there are expectations that they have, right? There are expectations that women in Thailand have. There are expectations that women in the Middle East have that most people just don't know about. And so anytime you have a partnership or relationship or anything that is law-based, right? There's going to be some expectations. There's going to be some, especially in many parts of the world, when you marry a woman, there are things like dowries. There are things like, there are expectations from family members. There's all kinds of cultural context that you're going into that you really need to study. And as someone who has been abroad and lived abroad with people, I lived in Taiwan when I was 17 for 9 months, and I lived with people, being in relationship or marriage with someone from a different culture it can be such a powerful transformational experience. But if you're not willing to grow in your own country, you're definitely not willing to grow with a woman from a different country. Because learning different cultures and customs is ego disruptive. You have to change. You have to do things differently. You have to be willing to give certain things up that you may have been accustomed to. And frankly, men in the US are pretty entitled. Let's just be honest. Women are entitled too. It's a cultural thing. And so, though I am so supportive of you just doing whatever you want to do, date whoever you want, you cannot escape your own patterns of behavior and your own dynamics in relationship by going abroad. You just can't. And even the drizzle of Oz himself, I see him sort of going throughout the globe, right? And he said he can, date whoever he wants, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's happy, right? You can have all the money in the world to date whoever you want, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're happy. So to the passport bros, your karma is your karma, no matter where you are in the world, but I support you doing whatever you want to do.
It's not avoidance. It is a matter of being treated right, and Western women don't understand that at all. Now here you are making all sorts of excuses, but we have decided our path.
Have you heard of passport bros?
What is a passport?
Okay, passport bros are men that are so fed up with Western women because we're all apparently so woke and so terrible and Western women don't want to be wives that they are now going to other countries to find wives.
Like which countries?
like Southeast Asia, Philippines, the Dominican Republic.
So it's like the opposite of the mail order bride.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
okay, so they're,
yes.
instead of ordering out, instead of using stamps.com.
Yes, and bringing them here, they're like, we want to get out.
It feels more expensive, but...
It is. And so a lot of these men get remote jobs. And so they go there and they live in these countries and then they meet these women. And then women in the Western world, specifically the United States, are so pissed off about it. And they're like, you're going to all these countries where these women don't even know how to speak English. They can't even read. They're so uneducated. And then the men like film themselves with these women and like show themselves on dates. And the women are so elegant and they're so well spoken and they're so traditional. And they're like, look at these women. Yeah, passport bros. Because Western women are so bad.
Did not know about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I'm here.
Interesting. I mean, I did marry a woman from abroad. I mean, she'd been to America since she was 12, but still, she's Israeli. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're like a reverse passport, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she came here and she got citizenship, so.
You didn't import her?
I did not import my wife, no.
Make that very clear.
Dudes are now like, I ain't even trying to date in America. I'm going to Colombia every other month. See the women be turning these guys down for crazy reasons because the other girls turned them down, or I didn't like his shirt, or I didn't like his beard, or he ain't have enough bass in his voice. Like, women are just good. They go crazy in America. And what do men want more than anything? We want to smash. Dudes are now like, I ain't even trying to date in America. I'm going to Colombia every other month. It's at the point now when people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with a girl playing games in America. They don't want to deal with taking a girl out on 3 and 4 dates, a girl telling him Cheesecake Factory is not good enough. A girl with a couple kids and baby fathers and all that. A girl with a bad attitude or short temper. They don't want to deal with that. So why you want to just make all that investment? Even sometimes if you pay for a girl, it might not be good. But at least you just paid once and you're like, oh, that was whack. Now imagine taking her out 4 or 5 times, because you know you're not going to usually stay with a girl if the sex chemistry is not there. They no longer want to put in the work. And you know the last American woman I was with? My ex-wife.
This isn't about disrespecting American women. It's about men seeking peace, appreciation, and better connection.
Hate to break it to you, I think that we've just got a very, very selfish culture of women. And to any women out there that say I have internalized misogyny or anything like that, that would require that I have a problem with women worldwide. I do not have a problem with women worldwide. I have a problem with Western women. And if you think that I'm just like making this up out of nowhere, reflect on the fact that there are Western men that are flying out east to find wives. Are Eastern men coming out west to find wives? No. Where in the world are men flying out in droves to marry American women? Nobody wants us. Why? We're big, we're selfish. We don't want to hear anything. You can't tell me to eat less. You can't tell me to change my life. You can't tell me it's not about me.
Because traditional wife material is no longer found in the West. If an Eastern man had to go west to find a woman, they'd take it as a punishment. Western man would rather stay alone than be with a person who thinks she's the most important thing in the world while bringing nothing to the table herself.
I'm not required to clean up after you. I'm not required to cook for you. I'm not required to do anything for you, right? Because you did not come out of me. I'm not your mom.
What is going on with Western women? The indoctrination's telling women that they should be independent. They shouldn't expect anything from a man.
They complain that they're not your mum, but expect you to pay for everything like their dad.
We live in a world today, and over the space of the last 20-ish years, women have not only equal rights, better rights, for the most part, in the Western world. The only women I hear complaining about equality of rights is Western women. I never hear that from my mom's Eastern European friends or, Middle Eastern friends. They never talk about it, ever, right? And there is actual oppression that goes on in some Middle Eastern country. That is undeniable, right? But you've got these Western women who don't want to admit their own privileges, simple things like, if you are a woman, as long as you're not, and it's really not that hard, you're gonna have a man who will take care of you.
In the West, women have not just equal rights, they often have more rights and societal privileges than men. Yet they're still the loudest complainers. Meanwhile, women in other regions stay humble, resilient, and grateful.
What I can appreciate about Passport Bros is I think it's an effective flag being raised for Western women as well. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to find someone. I'm not saying that they're not going to get screwed over. I'm not even necessarily saying that I would encourage men to go do it. Like you said, if you want to, cool. The motivation for it is the fact that men are still expected to act very traditionally. They're expected to be very chivalrous. They're expected to be protectors. Maybe they're not expected to provide to the same extent now that women can essentially match them on income. But if that's what a man's duty to you is, to be chivalrous, it's very, very loosely defined what a woman's duty to a man is.
It's very ambiguous.
And that is why I think they go to places where they are actually taught from a young age how to treat a man. What is your duty to a man?
Men here are still expected to protect, provide, and stay chivalrous, but in return, they get disrespect, ego trips, and endless entitlement. There's no balance. That's why these men are leaving.
So, what do you suggest the women in the West do if everyone's advice is for men in the West to look elsewhere for a wife? What happens to all the women in the West then?
Well, that one study we referenced that said by 2030 or something, 50% of women will be without a man. So that's the direction we're heading, because the men that are looking for those traditional values are starting to go overseas, and then the other half of the men are just checking out completely. They don't want to deal with women at all. So this is going to be a big issue that women are going to deal with in the future as their options dwindle.
This has to be the ultimate version of congratulations, you played yourself.
One of the things you guys were talking about, well, what makes a traditional woman? One of those things is modesty. Posting photos of your ass on Instagram is not being modest.
No, but I actually
We're not traditional, though. We're not traditional.
That's cool.
But
Then enjoy your 50-50
No, we're not
relationships.
traditional.
Enjoy your 50-50
Yeah.
relationships. Then when someone breaks into your house, you guys can defend it.
Well, duh. I
bringing the
shoot
strap
guns and I'm a
out, Brian.
boxer, so yeah.
See, here's the thing. This is one of the primary issues in modern dating. Non-traditional women want men to adhere to their traditional gender roles. You want men to be men, but you want to go post your shit on Instagram. You want to f*** around and be loose and be promiscuous.
What do you mean?
You're putting
Women-
This dude said it straight. Western dating lacks basic gratitude. You drop money, effort, time, and all you get is entitlement. Meanwhile, in places like Colombia, women actually value partnership. They don't expect luxury, they respect effort. That humble, feminine energy, it's rare in the West now.
Pretty much any first world English speaking country, Australia, New Zealand, etc., where feminism is pretty prominent. Do you think Western women are traditional?
No. I think we're definitely like getting further away from what was traditional. I think it's important to break tradition, so it's like, yeah.
Okay, so you say no and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I do think so, 100%.
This here is the sole reason why passport bros are a thing.
I could offer my whole self. No secrets and all. Loyalty, faithfulness, everything that could make him happy.
You ever hear a Western woman talking about how she's gonna make her man happy? No. You know what we hear from the West? What a man can do to make me happy. What a man can bring to the table for me. What I can benefit. How I could spend his money.
And people would call her submissive. It only means she knows how to love a man and take care of him. Because that's how a high-value woman should be. These words are coming from her heart. Such women deserve a high-value man. And when we say value, it doesn't mean riches, but someone who will look after her in every sense of the word.
You know what's interesting? I see immigrants come to this country, right?
Okay. They get
broke. Yeah, immigrants come to this country, right? Right? Guy brings his wife, right, and kids, and he could barely have a job. Maybe he's on welfare, he's struggling, etc. But his wife is still at home, cooking and cleaning, taking care of the kids, and he could barely provide, but he's trying his hardest, right? But he doesn't have to pay all the bills and do all this extra shit and have a big and have status and all that to get his girl to stay at home. Like, the wife stays at home because in her culture, it's shameful to be at a nightclub shaking your ass with a bunch of other men. It's like kind of weird. It's unacceptable.
Haram!
But here in America and in the West, in the UK too, like, it's completely socially acceptable for women to put themselves in compromising situations for the relationship and think, I want to be independent, I should be able to do what I want to do, etc. But you got immigrant women coming from other places that have no money. Their guy can't even provide for them a lot of time, but they understand basic loyalty and duty. It's wild to me.
But is the woman staying at home and he's going to work?
That's literally what I just said.
Okay then.
Good Western women get this completely. Unfortunately, there are a ton of women all over the world that forget what's important in a relationship. Thanks for watching Manhood. If you want access to exclusive episodes and want to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it hit home. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. See you tomorrow.